Do you need a trellis for your sweet peas to grow on? Well, that's what we're working on today. So welcome to Do It Yourself with Wayne. We're all about teaching you how to do things yourself to save money, and growing your own food and having a garden is certainly part of saving money and living a better life. So basically today, my raised bed here is 16 feet long. I got 2 rows of peas. So I got 2 16-foot rows, and they've grown enough that they need a trellis to grow on. And so that's what we're going to be putting up today. I've got 4 of these metal posts. You've probably, if you watch my channel, you've probably seen these before. I use these things. Some of them are, gosh, some of these things are probably 20 years old and I'm still using them. I got 2 that are 6 feet. I got 2 that are 7 feet. I'll be showing you in a few minutes why I chose 2 different heights because of what I'm going to do. And I use these wire panels. You probably can't see this very well, but these are like 6-inch squares in this wire. I get them from building supply stores. They're designed for reinforcing concrete. I got some of these that I've probably used 15 or 20 years and still using them. So the cost of the materials over time is very cheap. Although the first year you do this, it may be a little bit expensive, but over time, the cost is just about nothing because you keep reusing them. I've also got my post driver. I drove these posts like this for years using an axe or a sledgehammer or something, and I finally decided to buy me a post driver a few years ago, and that certainly makes the job a lot easier, but you don't have to have that. Hopefully you don't hear the kids across the street too much. I've got an elementary school right up the hill over here, and the playground is just beyond these trees across the road, so sometimes they get a little loud, but hopefully you don't hear them too much. But what I'm going to do, my son comes up over that way. So the first row I'm going to put straight up right in the middle of the 2 rows like that. The second wire I'm going to come back here and I'm going to do it like that. It'll be up off the ground some, so it'll be about like so to give it an angle. And the hope is that the one that's at an angle, the peas will hang down and be easier to pick. I don't know if they will or not, but we're going to try that. And later in the year, maybe I'll do a video to show you how things worked out. But another thing I was thinking about later is, with where my son's at, if I do this row straight up and down, and this in a little bit of an angle, it helps get a little bit more sunlight back this way, and maybe that'll help some too. I don't know if it will or not, but as I said, later in the year, I hope to do another video showing how this worked out and hopefully picking some nice little sweet peas. But anyway, let's get started putting this up. Now I'm going to start with the one down here first, and we'll take my wire, and without hurting any of my plants, I'm going to lay it right there. These wires are not quite 8 feet, so 2 of them together don't actually cover the whole 16 feet, but I think they're 7.5. So I just come in a little at each end, and they kind of meet in the middle, and that works out. So I'm going to take my shorter 2 posts, and these posts have little tabs on them. I'll try to show you that up close in a little bit, and just bend a couple of them out. And that's what I hang the wire on. And I put one about there. This is a close-up of one of the tabs on one of my posts where I've hung the wire on it. Now, if your posts are new, you may need to bend those tabs out just a little bit. And you don't have to worry about every tab. If you get one near the top and one near the bottom, that will be plenty sufficient to hold this wire. And in years past, I used to would bend that little tab back over the wire to make sure it won't come off. I have found that to be unnecessary. Plus it makes it a lot more difficult to get the wire off the post in the fall when you're taking this stuff down. Well, I'll put it down a little bit, and then I'll put one about here Push it down a little bit. All right, then I'll drive that in. When you drive your post, pay attention, try to get the tops of them fairly even. It don't really make a big deal difference, but if your wire is crooked, they just don't look as good. And I like to try to keep them even so the wire hangs where it looks like it's straight in comparison to the ground level. All right, let's hang this wire. I think that'll be a good height. Might have been better if the wire was a little bit lower, but I don't want to go down another notch on my post because then I think I'd be too low. But my little plants are getting right there where they can hang on, and that's what you want. You want the plants to be able to reach your wire so they can hang on to it to get started. And I think we're pretty much there. All right, now I'm going to see what I can do about installing the other two at an angle. That'll be a little more of a challenge. One thing I can already see will be an issue. I have to be real careful when I walk up and down my row here that I don't hit this with my face or whatever, because that would be really bad. So I'll end up putting something here, I don't know what yet, but I'll put something here to help protect my face from getting torn up on this stuff over time. Okay, I've decided what to do to make sure I don't hurt myself on the top of my post. I got me a pool noodle. I measured from the wire up to the top of my post. The other way, cut it at that length because my post won't go in the hole of the pool noodle. The hole's too small. So I did that. I took my knife and I split it right down the middle. You can see that. Then I went on the post and I put that over it. I bent it over like so. Did the same thing on the other side. A couple of wire ties, and I've got something that'll keep me from getting hurt on the tops of these posts. So that's what I'm going to try this year. I guess I could have gone with the shorter post on this too, but I wanted to make sure they were long enough that I could drive them deeper in the ground because the angle is going to be more force pulling them over. I think they'll hold up well. So anyway, tell me what you think. Is there a better way to do this? Tell me what you think of my ideas. I'd love to hear your suggestions and comments. And so anyway, that's what we're going to do. At this point, we just got to get our little bean plants trained over to the wire so they'll grow up on it. And I think we'll be good to go. So at this point, I'd just like to say thank you for visiting. Do it yourself with Wayne. And we hope you have a great gardening season.